test. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Good, Rick? Yep, okay. We're going to call to order the city council meeting for Monday, October 2nd, 2023. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and thank you for that. Roll call, Amanda.
Jeff Delkey.
Here.
Tracy Coach. Bill Leclerc. Here. Darla Leclerc. Tim Petrie.
Here.
Bonnie Shimalunas. Scott Steckmesser.
Here.
Adam Mahusky.
Here. All right, everybody's here, so we can skip over number 4, and we're going to move into number 5. We're going to do the resolution first and then a moment of silence to follow. So we're going to pick it up at 5A, which is a resolution of remembrance in honor of Scott M. Powell. The recommended action is a motion to read and adopt the resolution. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read the resolution. It is a resolution in remembrance in honor of Scott M. Scotty Powell, 1958 to 2023. Whereas Scott M. Powell, affectionately known as Scotty throughout our community, was born in Two Rivers on June 25th, 1958, was a lifelong resident of Two Rivers, and passed away on September 25th, 2023, at the age of 65. And whereas Scotty was a familiar face around Two Rivers and a friend to thousands of people in the community. And whereas Scotty was the ultimate example of a man of all seasons, well known as the Two Rivers Raiders' #1 sports fan, beloved member of the Seehafer broadcasting crew for Two Rivers sports broadcasts, compiling stats, keeping score, and offering commentary, a longtime employee at the Leicester Public Library, and a faithful member and server at St. Peter the Fisherman Catholic Church. And whereas he got an early start in sports as a manager for the high school football and basketball teams from 1973 to 1977, and after graduation, started a new career as a statistician for the football and girls softball teams and a scorer for girls volleyball teams, a job he continued until his passing. And whereas a heartfelt love of Two Rivers High School sports not only earned him the status of #1 fan, but also the respect and affection of the school's student athletes, coaches, and fans, plus the unique distinction of being the only non-athlete or non-coach ever inducted into the Two Rivers High School Sports Hall of Fame. And whereas, while afflicted with cerebral palsy, Scotty traveled throughout the community on his 3-wheel bicycle, greeting everyone he knew with his infectious smile and wave. His love and concern and respect for others knew no handicap. And whereas Scotty passed away suddenly at his home on Monday, September 23rd, 2023, and his passing has brought forth an outpouring of sadness and sympathy for the family members and many friends he leaves behind. And whereas those of us lucky enough to have known Scotty Powell, and they number literally in the thousands, are better for having known him, and our city of Two Rivers is a better place for his many contributions to daily life in this community. And now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Two Rivers does hereby, on behalf of all those in Two Rivers and beyond whose lives were touched by this loving, genuine man, express our appreciation for Scotty Powell and his time spent among us. We know that he continues to cheer on his beloved Raiders sports teams, now from a heavenly skybox. And be it further resolved that in tribute to Scotty, we join in that cheer that he so often led to rally up the team or end a game at Two Rivers High School. Give me an R. Give me an A. Give me an I. Give me a D. Give me an E. Give me an R. Give me an S. What's that spell? Raiders. What's that spell? Raiders. One more time. Raiders. He often led us all in that, from my time coaching there until his passing. One we'll never forget. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be provided to Scotty's family and to the athletic department of Two Rivers High School in token of our community's love and respect for Two Rivers' native son and number one Raider fan, Scott M. Powell. Approved the second day of October 2023. Looking for a motion on this. Thank you, Darla. Seconded by Scott. Thank you very much. Any council discussion? This one really hits home. Scotty was a well-known man throughout the community. You could see him often, obviously, on that three-wheel bicycle in many establishments and at every Raider game. There's a guy that through thick and thin, didn't matter if that team was 0 for the season or 0 for the last several years. Scotty was right behind those guys every single year. He would ride that three-wheel bicycle through sleet, snow, rain, you name it, just to be there. And that's something I know I will never forget. Roll call vote, Amanda.
Tracy Coach,
Aye.
Bill Leclerc. Aye. Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Tim Petrie.
Aye.
Bonnie Shimalunas,
Aye.
Scott Steckmeister,
Aye.
Adam Mahusky,
Aye.
Jeff Delkey.
Aye. Thank you very much, and thank you guys all for being here to help us with the tribute to Scotty there. We appreciate it. Obviously, you're welcome to stay. But again, that is much appreciated. So thank you very much. Now we will do a moment of silence in memory of Scott Powell. Thank you very much. On to number 6, input from the public. Anyone wishing to address the council on something that's on this agenda or something you'd like to see on a future agenda, please step up to the podium, my right, your left, state your name and address for the record. Again, you guys are all looking, you guys are free to go if you like that. That's perfectly fine. Just jump on up.
Thanks for being here.
Yep.
All of you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Kirk. Macy. Any other coaches that I may have missed? Mrs. Ing? All right, we are still open. Input from the public. All right, see none. We are going to move on to number 7, which is council communications. Any communications from residents that anyone received that they'd like to share with the rest of council at this time? Bonnie.
I haven't been, I was late one meeting and so I didn't get this stated. Somebody had contacted me about overgrown trees along Main Street, Washington Street. And I'm gonna, Mike, no, wait, Matt. I'm so sorry.
Matt.
Which one is it? Matt?
Matt.
And I contacted him and he said if you had an issue like this means this is trees in the public sector, like parks and
Oh,
things like.
then we're looking at Mike.
Huh?
Then we're looking at Mike.
Whether it's the park or the terrace,
Well, it's a terrace. It's on Washington Street.
that would be Matt.
So anyway, and he told me you could email tworivers.org, Parks Rec, and then Page Forestry. I didn't look it up to see how easy it was. You can come up here and address it because it's okay.
Yeah, what Bonnie's referring to is there's now on the city websites, is not an email actually, but you go to the city websites. There's up on the top, kind of right side, when you go down to departments, grab Parks and Rec. There's a forestry tab. You click through and it'll take you to a form basically in our registration software and you can submit a request. So if you see a tree that has a dead limb on it, it's a terrace tree, maybe the city hasn't seen it, we're not often can miss these things, you can submit that form and then we can get dispatched out to deal with whatever it may be. Or if it's a dead ash tree or something like that. Yeah, any forestry issues, you can submit them through that form online. So it's Parks and Rec tab on the website to forestry and it'll take you to the form for forestry. So
I have one more.
Yep, go ahead.
The reason
Thank
I
you, Mike.
bring this stuff up is because if one person is asking me, I think several were. Somebody had brought up about the fake ice. Can I call it that? Artificial ice. not artificial intelligence, AI, artificial ice. And they thought that would dull your skates, and apparently it does. But I wanted people to know, because I had forgotten this myself, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, the Rotary, correct? Paid for, well, at least half, if not more. More than half. And
Is your mic off, Greg?
Oh, shoot. Now I'm on. Rotary made the donation. $65,000 was the naming gift for the synthetic ice. And I was just going to say it is a given that it does dull skates a lot faster than natural ice.
yes, and you're gonna have, I hope I got this straight. The ice, I mean, you are gonna have a someone that
That's, I'll
sharpens
defer to our
or
Parks and
something
Rec
like that?
director on that one as well.
All right.
Yep.
That's all I have.
We are getting our own set of skates that we'll be able to rent occasionally, and we're getting a skate sharpener as well. Now, there will be kind of select limited hours for when that skate sharpener, and we're going to staff any of that. Still working out the final details on that. So yeah, at least probably once a week to start on Saturdays, there'll probably be somebody around at Central Park to sharpen skates, and we'll try to encourage the public to bring their skates if they're going to skate on the rink to get them sharpened as well. So that is an option. It's something you got to live with, is that some folks are going to have duller skates than others, but we'd encourage people, if they're not coming to see us, that they go get their skates sharpened before they come on the rink. So.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Bonnie? Nope. Anybody else? Communications they'd like to share, Jeff?
I got a couple of them. I got a couple calls from people wondering when or if we're going to get ATV, UTVs on the agenda again.
Okay.
And also a couple of different people messaged me about when or if we're going to get any talk on the pool on an agenda or a work agenda.
I think we're deferring to staff to get better dialogue between the pool and the city, and hoping to bring that back for our October work session.
We are shooting for the October work session. I think we addressed that the last meeting, the
Yep.
regular meeting, the pool folks were here.
Yep, it was unclear, at least from my perspective, as to what exactly they were asking, if it was capital, if it was operating, and trying to get some more budgetary numbers that are more exact as to what it takes to run that pool and the operations, and exactly kind of what they're looking for. And that dialogue is happening, but if it hasn't happened yet, will be happening with the city and the swim club to bring back to the work session. ATV, UTV, we can certainly put that back on the agenda. We can, it may be better to serve it up at a work session, maybe the October work session, before we bring it back formally. I do see Mishkat just passed that as well, driving through there. I saw that they had a bunch of signs up.
And then I also got one more. Somebody had messaged me wondering about this update on the old Unimart. Is there going to be any progress made anytime soon, or they want to know if they're going to have to look at that for another year?
The last meeting, I think, got extended. I don't recall till
Yeah,
when.
at the work session on September 25th, the council authorized an extension. Kurt Andrews from the Wine Knot Group was here to explain what they've run into, which are both structural issues. They're going to end up doing as much of a rebuild as a remodel, as you can probably guess looking at it. And they ran into some asbestos, which has been successfully abated. Council approved extending the deadline for showing that at least $100,000 has been invested into the property to December 31.
30,
That
yes, I
deadline
remember
had
that.
been September 30, and extended the deadline for project completion to July 31st of next year. It had been end of this year. So I'm not quoting, but he pretty much said once all of their financing is finalized, they've got their bank financing, and week before last, the Business Industrial Development Committee of the city approved a $150,000 loan to what is now a $600,000 project. And that we should be, again, I'm just parroting what the representative from Wine Knot, Mr. Andrews, said, that we should be seeing some activity pretty shortly there. Hope so.
I'll pass that along.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Short week.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we're going to go to council reports from boards, commissions, and committees. Anyone have anything they'd like to report on? Jeff?
Personnel and Finance, we started the budget process. We just got some preliminary numbers out, and I will keep everybody up to date as the process continues.
Another meeting this Thursday.
Thursday, 6 o'clock here, special revenue funds and a little more follow-up on capital projects
And library?
and the library. Yes.
Yep, I believe he was number one on the list.
Yep.
Jeff's number one. Anybody else? Darla?
All right, for Two Rivers Main Street, Fall Wine Walk and Beer Walk is October the 27th, 5 to 8:30. Right now, there's 12 stops, and Two Rivers Downtown Trick or Treat, now this is the downtown trick or treat, is Saturday, October 28th from 11 to 2. And this is, we typically get between 100 and 1,000 kids who come downtown trick or treating. It's an incredible thing to see, let me tell you. But anyway, but it brings a lot of people downtown, and so that will be on October 28th. And then the Two Rivers Hometown Christmas Parade of Lights will be November 25th at 5:30. And right now they are looking for entries, so you can go ahead and get an application from Main Street and get all the information. But it's going to be very, very nice. And so start thinking about what you want to enter into the parade. And then with Environmental Advisory Board, right now we are concentrating on our winter educational series, and we're doing pretty good with populating the evenings. On October 5th, it's going to be Benefits of Renewable Resources, and that's going to be presented by Brian Delman, Director of Two Rivers Utilities, and Brad Stenghoff. Was that correct? Steighoff? Steighoff from Focus on Energy. And that's going to be very, very informative for people, especially if you want to save money on your bills. And also be cognizant of our environment too. So I encourage you to show up. It's at the Leicester Public Library. On November the 2nd, we will have Mike Mathis presenting Creating Fun and Resilient Parks. And Mike is our Parks and Rec Director. And as everybody knows, we have a lot of things going on with our parks. So this will be very informative to people. So that one, like I said, is on November the 2nd. And we almost have finalized the rest of the months, which will be, we're taking a break during December, but we'll have January, February, March, and April. And I know sprinkled in there, there's going to be a climate change. There will be a talk on local ecosystem, stormwater, and then also I'm going to talk to Jim Nickelbein, Director at Woodland Dunes, and have him come up with a talk about invasive species, both flora and fauna, because there's a lot of stuff going on that we're not aware of, and we need to be aware. That's what we're up to.
All right. Anybody else? Scott?
Can I ask Jeff a question
Sure.
about the personnel finance? On the agenda, it said overview of city budget issues for 2024. Are there any big gotchas that's going to be coming up for 2024?
A preliminary that we haven't seen.
I think that one thing I shared with the committee, thank God for the increase in shared revenues that the legislature adopted. And I did go a little light on the budget overview and said we'd revisit.
Insurance is probably the biggest one.
Insurance, we budgeted for a pretty hefty increase there. Looks like we may come in a little lower than the 20% we directed department heads, but we're at about 15 for a renewal with the Wisconsin County's Group Health Trust. Our experience alone would have probably warranted a 30% increase because total claims paid last year exceeded premiums in. This year, so far, is looking quite a bit better. But, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. On to the city manager's report. Greg?
We don't have specific invited guests tonight. Again, we'll share the council's tribute to Scott Paulo, including pictures of that great turnout from the high school sports department, athletic department on Facebook yet tonight. For my report, I'd just like to again touch on a very special Saturday that we had here on September 23rd with a couple hundred people in Central Park, and presentation officially of the gift of the Friendship Table from supporters of the Sister City Initiative, and a hefty donation from our sister city of Domažlice in the Czech Republic. We were happy to welcome Mayor Antos and the chair of their Sister Cities Committee here. And of course, another real highlight of the week, was the 10 students who spent 9 days in Two Rivers with host families and out at Two Rivers High School. Great week to be here with homecoming, all of the festivities there, right on through the football game on Friday night and the homecoming dance on Saturday night. They all boarded a bus on Sunday morning and were wished well by their host families on their way. So it's another very successful chapter. And we look forward to some Two Rivers students making that trip next year, and hopefully an adult delegation as well. So keep that in mind. In the way of personnel updates, we're continuing to accept applications. We have some in hand for building inspector. The deadline applications closed today for full-time police secretary and evidence custodian. And we are also accepting applications for a part-time position of receptionist over in the community house. And if we haven't already, we'll start shortly with recruitment for Parks and Rec secretary. We do have a new hire. Glad to announce the appointment of Ben Dax as new Public Works maintenance worker. We'll probably introduce him at the meeting on the 16th. He brings a wealth of experience in infrastructure construction to the job. So happy to have him on board. Again, going back to the Domažlice Exchange, the picture on the left was taken Sunday morning, just before our guests boarded the bus for their way to O'Hare in a flight to Munich. These are the Czech students and a good number of their host families, as well as teachers, Jarka Vakova and Kamil Yunrich, who are off to the right there, the two teachers that accompanied them here. That picture, of course, taken downtown in front of the new Sister Cities mural that's going up on Rick Carey's building in the downtown. That, again, supported by generous donations of folks in the community that support the Sister Cities effort. There's still a little more paint to be applied on that mural, a little more color to be added to that street view of the main street in Domažlice. And photo on the right, I cannot say enough good things about both Brenda Kaprowski and Bill Keel of the Two Rivers Sister Cities Committee and all of the work they put into the planning, the organization for last week's visit, and being great hosts throughout the week. And there they are again with Jarka and Kamil, the teachers from the Czech Republic, and with the chair from Domažlice of their Sister Cities Committee, Jakub Faschingbauer. He's the young man in the center at the friendship table. Of course, some of you were able to attend. We had a visit on Tuesday. It was local government morning. They stopped by here at City Hall, met with our council president, department heads, others in attendance. And again, we were happy for a long weekend to have Mayor Antos, who was on the council and among the first contingent from Domažlice that visited here in 2018, and he returned this year as their new mayor. They have 7 political parties in their city that's about the size of Two Rivers. So as is common in Europe at the national level, there's a fair amount of coalition governing that goes on in Domažlice. Back here, stateside, to some of our improvements. The installers continue to be at work over at Nashotah Park, putting the play equipment in place. With a little luck, and if the weather's with us, they hope to begin installing the poured-in-place surfacing for this new destination playground around Wednesday of this week. Don't forget the dedication again, Sunday morning, October 15th, 10 to noon out at the park. Over on East River Street, a project that's been deferred for a couple of years, but at least a big installment going in with a portion of the off-street bike and pedestrian trail, which we expect next year will link up with the pedestrian improvements being made on the Washington Street Bridge. Contingent on council approving the budget. We'll continue that right on through the former Riverfront Liquor Site. Got to find a different name for that. Maybe Liquor Store Park has a nice ring, but nobody's endorsed that just yet. So that'll be a nice improvement, both aesthetically and safety-wise. Leaf cleanup officially starts October 16, 2 weeks yet. You might see some spot pickup going on around town in advance of that, but it'll be all forces into leaf pickup starting October 16. So, and we'll watch with interest the new, more specific layout of the different zones for pickup, and will be regular updates, I would say daily during pickup season, out on city social media. So watch for that. Updates on a couple of projects. The Confluence, 71 units of market rate housing on the East Twin River. We did have a discussion between city staff and the developer last week, and we're scheduled to talk again this week. There are going to need to be some further revisions to the development agreement. We've got some deadlines, September 30, I believe, for additional budget information and financing information that are going to require extensions if council sees fit. I would say, though, that site planning work continues. There's dialogue going on between engineering staff and McMahon Associates, who are doing the site planning for the developer. They have now identified the proposed boundaries for the development site to be purchased from the city, as provided in the development agreement. And you may have noticed last week, there was also some soil boring equipment over on the site. They are going to have to address excavating and getting around some of the large pieces of footings and foundation that, in accordance with the codes at the time, were left on the site because they hit more than a few of those big hunks of foundation over there. So still optimistic. Developer still is targeting starting work by year end. So we'll get you an update at one of the upcoming meetings this month. Similarly, we spent some time on the phone today with the developers for the West River Lofts. They are still looking to start construction by year end. We've identified some minor, I would term them minor modifications to the previously approved development agreement and easement agreement to be presented for council action also yet this month. My way of looking at it, probably the most significant, we had talked about that a triangular piece of property that lines up with the west approach to the old railroad bridge. And we had provided in our agreements as approved by council for an easement to utilize that for accessing the bridge, either for demo, renovation, turning it into a trail, or the option for the city to purchase it for $1 for basically for the same purposes. The developer had said that in light of their financing and various mortgages on the property, it'd be a whole lot better to sell the parcel before it becomes encumbered by all of those mortgages for the development rather than later. You get more details on it, but our community development staff has worked with DNR. We now have an opinion letter from DNR that this property acquisition would be covered under the local governmental unit exemption or the LGU exemption as it relates to environmental liability. So the proposal would be to purchase that property. That's right now a decent piece of river access. It's all the more important if the city is going to acquire that Canadian national right-of-way, because as you know, the bridge comes with it and you kind of need a way to get to the bridge. So more on that when we bring this back to council. Sandy Bay Highlands, we've talked about this at recent work sessions. I know Matt, our engineer, has updated you. Just wanted to mention again, we're down to only 2 lots now available at the existing subdivision. We got a full price offer 2 weeks ago on 1 more lot. Those folks are working with their builder to make sure they can fit the house they want, because it's one of the lots that's impacted by wetlands. But we are down to just 2 that aren't either sold or under contract. Design work, as council heard a week ago at the work session, is going along well for phase 3. Should be some consultation with engineering staff and McMahon this week on about a 30% design. The goal is, and again, contingent on budget, and this is one of the capital borrowing items we talked about last week, to be in a position in December to bid out the next phase of infrastructure work for 2024 construction. You may note when you see the Community Development Authority's minutes from their September meeting, the CDA did extend for an additional year a right of first refusal held by WGNR Bedding on an adjacent 2-acre parcel at the Woodland Industrial Park. That's been in place for maybe a little over a year now. Current right of first refusal expires at the end of this year. The company's interest has indicated an interest in continuing that. It's for what is now, I'll call it a landlocked parcel to the north of the far west end of WGNR's property. It could be accessed by a platted but never developed little cul-de-sac street that goes back there. But hopefully we'll see something happen there with an expansion project in the coming year. You've heard from Andrew Sukawati, our water utility director, at past meetings about our requirement with Wisconsin DNR to start adding orthophosphate for lead and copper control to our city drinking water. We were up against a deadline of September 30 to get that done. The new system became operational on September 26. I expect Andrew probably talked about that with the Utilities Committee earlier this evening. And now we will again ask DNR, can't we stop adding the old lead and copper control chemical, because it seems like overkill to be adding 2 different chemicals. Still waiting for I think a better answer on that one. I don't have a great answer, Jeff, but you had asked at the last meeting on behalf of a resident about water consumption for the splash pad. I can tell you we don't have an exact figure, because as the project was built, there's a single meter for the pavilion building and the splash pad that's being changed and will be changed out this fall. And after sod installation, we ran a heck of a lot of water through the pavilion meter and any place else we could get a hold of water to water that sod down. Our best estimate right now is that, and understand it, the splash pad is activated for a 4-minute cycle, and then the button has to be hit again. But our best estimate is we've seen usage ranging from 12 to 20,000 gallons a day. That would equate out to a bill of anywhere from 65 to 110 per day of operation. So that's the best number we have right now. Sounds like a lot when you say it by itself, but $65 to $110 when it comes to recreation programming activities for a relatively small group of people, whether they're kids and adults, doesn't get you too far. And we've certainly seen a lot of usage out there. So we need to track that better. And we also need to make sure we have a separate meter, because it doesn't go into the sewer. Jeff?
Will that come out of Park and Rec budget?
That will be an operating budget item for Parks and Rec.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Because I'm sure somebody's going to ask me that.
Yep. We don't get to write IOUs like the Fed, so tell them it would
Right.
have to come out of city operating budget. Yep. Remind you, there's another opportunity to support the Two Rivers Police Department Canine Program this Wednesday. The good folks at Port Sandy Bay, again, doing a fundraiser for a good cause here in the community. Officer Lade and Zante will be out there. If you're lucky, maybe Daisy will show up too. A percentage of proceeds will go to the benefit of the Police Department Canine Program. So 2 things. You get to do a good thing for the canine program. You get to have some great food. You don't have to cook dinner. So you're off the hook. Darla already mentioned this, but again, really have appreciated the efforts of the Environmental Advisory Board to keep the community up to date on matters related to environmental protection, sustainability, and et cetera. This week, Thursday, Brian Delman and the guest that was identified earlier will be there to talk about benefits of renewable resources. A couple upcoming events next Saturday, one of them courtesy of Bank First, and that is a shred event, and that's from 9 a.m. to noon. So if you have documents that you just as soon not just put out in the recycling or the trash, that shred event is free. They are asking that participants bring a non-perishable food donation in exchange for each bag of documents to be shredded, and that'll go to area food pantries. While you're getting rid of those documents that you want to have shredded, you can also get rid of some of those old electronics and light bulbs and microwave ovens and other things that might be hanging out in your basement or garage or somewhere in your house. Again, the Two Rivers Optimists and the Octagon Club from the high school will be having their annual electronics recycle event this Saturday, also from 9 to 1, and that is in the parking lot over at the community house. Appreciate that service to the community. Apple Fest, brought to you by Two Rivers Rotary, is coming up the following Saturday, October 14, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Park in beautiful downtown TR. So let's hope our run of good weather continues for Apple Fest. Out at Woodland Dunes, they're doing good things on the 14th of October as well. You can go out there for a partial eclipse viewing and some information on how to safely view the eclipse with astronomers Al and Ben. It does depend on weather, because if it's cloudy or foggy, you're not going to see the eclipse. But they do encourage registration in advance, but walk-ins are welcome. Want to join with others in the community in extending congratulations to the Friends of Point Beach State Forest. They were recently given the Hero Award from the Association of, Friends of Wisconsin State Parks, as well as DNR, recognized as the outstanding Friends group in Wisconsin. They've been doing some amazing things, new shipwrecks exhibit out at the lodge at the State Forest, the Action Track chair purchase for accessibility for folks that are mobility impaired, first Friends group in the state to raise funds for such a chair, and other activities like first hike on New Year's Day and other activities out at the Nature Center. This is a very active group doing good things. John Wyrostick, the president of the group, is also on our Explore Two Rivers Board of Directors and on the Citizen Advisory Group for the National Marine Sanctuary. So, of course, a lot of famous shipwrecks and sometimes yet to be uncovered shipwrecks are found off the state forest. So kudos to the Friends group, doing lots of good things. Was mentioned earlier, we got Trick or Treat coming up downtown Saturday the 28th, 11 to 2, citywide on the real Halloween, 4:30 to 7. And put that porch light on if you're welcoming the kids and encouraging them to come by your house for treats. Leicester Public Library is coming off an amazing summer of 2023, totally unscripted, but Jeff, could I call you up to share this? And I think we also had something on a recent donation to the library. These numbers are just amazing. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, we had a great summer at the library, as you can see by some of the stats behind me. It broke all records we've ever had for the month of August, and then for the summer reading program, attendance to programming in general. So again, thanks, Greg. It was an amazing summer, and some of the features that we really liked was the Treasure Quest, which took family members and teams throughout the entire Two Rivers community to find clues and hidden treasures and bring them back to get prizes. So our Dramatic Play Center was well attended over the course of the summer. And of course, our to-go packs remained incredibly popular over the course of the summer. So great summer. We were busy. It was good. It was fun.
Radical concept, promoting reading and use of the library. Awesome.
And this, Two Rivers Rotary provided a grant for us to purchase what we're calling a youth makerspace. It's in the junior reading area of youth services. And what it is basically a massive table with the ability for teams, groups, family members to get together, put together Legos is the one thing I understand, but there's all kinds of puzzle blocks, Kiva planks, magnet tiles. I have no idea what any of that stuff is, but I will tell you that kids do, and they'll make good use of this space. And I just want to, again, thanks to Two Rivers Rotary. Not only did they fund the project, but they came over and put it together. That's the team of Rotarians that put the table and materials together last week. So thanks.
They appear thoroughly stumped as well. So
Yeah, I think they're equally.
thank you, Jeff. Put you on the spot there, but thank you. Just great stuff happening at Leicester Public Library. So much of it because not only of taxpayer support, but broader community support.
Yeah, great job. I want to say I know my kids have been there throughout summer, and my son that's not in school quite yet still goes there every week, and he enjoys the crap out of it. So, well done by your whole staff.
The community Thanksgiving dinner is resuming again at the senior center on Thanksgiving Day, November 23rd. They're still looking for volunteers, people to help set up, help serve, drive the trust car that day. And also obviously people are invited to come and join for this community Thanksgiving meal. Whether you're alone at Thanksgiving or whether you as a family feel like getting out and enjoying the holiday with others, it's just a great program. Kudos to the senior center and all the volunteers and the sponsors, the donors that make this possible back after COVID. So great tradition.
Greg, I'd like to just.
Yes. No.
It's not really a Thanksgiving meal, but I guess. Trust car group law. So. Times for a trust car would be real.
Is that just for this event, or is that in general day-to-day operations?
In general.
General, so day-to-day operation. Okay.
And of course, there are two trust vehicles now with another donation from the Friends Group. So things are going very well. We got a great team in place over at the senior center and moving forward as part of Parks and Rec. That's my report. Fisher biting on the pier. Thank you.
Legislative and intergovernmental.
Not a whole lot there. Again, I don't have anything really to share as far as legislation impacting the city at this point.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, then on to the consent agenda. Under A, we have a presentation of minutes. There are two. We have a city council meeting of September 5th and the 18th of 2023, and a city council work session of September 25th, 2023. Recommended action. Motion to waive reading and adopt the minutes. Under B, minutes of meetings, there are three. The recommended action is a motion to receive and file. Under C, applications and petitions, we have two. There's an application for new operator's license recommended for denial by police chief for Dawn M. Bright. Recommended action is a motion to deny the application based on the recommendation of the police chief. And under 2, we have an application for a special event beer garden permit from Lanza's Tannery Club, 4317 Tannery Road, Two Rivers, for October 8th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. The recommended action is a motion to approve the application and authorize the city clerk to issue the license. The recommended action for the consent agenda as a whole is a motion to approve the consent agenda with the various actions recommended. Looking for a motion on the consent agenda. Thank you, Bill. Seconded by Tim. Perfect. Council discussion. Yes, Bonnie.
I was not absent on September 5th. I was late, but I wasn't absent.
I think okay, that might be corrected. I recall it was noted that you arrived at a point in the meeting.
Since you sent it out, it's been corrected?
No, I think it was based on at roll call. You weren't here, but I think if I'm remembering those minutes, it was noted when you arrived at the
I
meeting.
just meant it was in the minutes.
Right.
It should be corrected, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And I was just saying, I think it only reflected you weren't there at the beginning.
Right.
The minutes do point out that you arrived.
Right.
That could be added to the roll call.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe just-
I don't want any weird ideas because I marked absent, but I kept voting.
Right.
True. Yes.
After it was
We
noted
don't
that
need
you
any
arrived.
strange things going
Yes,
on.
if you hadn't arrived, that would have been tricky.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that can be duly noted.
We do have a note in there saying that you did arrive at 6:32.
It's further down. Okay. Gotcha. Can we, on a roll call then, instead of maybe later on for future, instead of marking absent, mark late or something like that? Because that does give the wrong perception when you read at the beginning when it says you're absent. When you're not absent, you're just late.
I could call it out as arrived
Right.
late.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Anyone else? Further discussion? See none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. On to 11, city council formal items. We have 4 of them tonight. A is a proclamation naming October 2nd through the 8th, 2023 as Public Power Week. Recommended action, motion to read and adopt the proclamation. And Brian's already headed on up for that reading. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Public Power Week. Quick plug, actually. I'd encourage all customers to check out our Facebook page. We're running a promotional giveaway this week for anybody is currently signed up for the My Account program or anybody that will sign up for the My Account program. Different things on our Facebook page, so please check that out. On to the proclamation. Whereas we, the citizens of City of Two Rivers, place high value on local control over community services and therefore have chosen to operate a community-owned, locally controlled, not-for-profit electric utility. And as consumers and owners of our electric utility have a direct say in utility operations and policies. And whereas Two Rivers Utilities provides our homes, businesses, social service, and local government agencies with reliable, efficient, and cost-effective electricity, employing sound business practices designed to ensure the best possible service at not-for-profit rates. And whereas Two Rivers Utility is a valuable community asset that contributes substantially to the well-being of local citizens through energy efficiency, customer service, environmental protection, economic development, and safety awareness. And whereas rising costs of electric rates across the country have renewed public interest in the appreciation for the concept of locally controlled community-owned public power systems. And whereas Two Rivers Utility is a dependable, trustworthy institution whose local operations provide many consumer protections and continues to make our community a better place in which we work and live. Now therefore be it resolved, Two Rivers Utilities will continue to work to bring lower cost, safe, reliable electricity to the community homes and businesses just as it has since 1902, the year which the utility was created to serve the citizens of Two Rivers. And be it further resolved, the week of October 1st to the 7th be designated as Public Power Week to honor our Two Rivers Utilities for its contributions to the community and make it consumer-owned policymakers and employees more aware of the overall contributions to their well-being. And be it further resolved that the community joins hands with more than the 2,000 other public power systems in the United States that through local community ownership ensure cost-cutting services for electricity customers. Therefore, the City Council and the City of Two Rivers hereby proclaims the week of October 1st through the 7th as Public Power Week, dated the 2nd day of October, 2023.
Thank you, Brian. Looking for a motion on this. Thank you, Jeff. Seconded by Bonnie. Discussion. See none. It's a proclamation. Roll call vote. Amanda.
Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Tim Petrie, Bonnie Shimulinas,
Aye.
Scott Steckleser,
Aye.
Adam Mahusky, Jeff Delkey, Tracy Coach,
Aye.
Bill Leclerc.
All right.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. On to B, resolution proclaiming October 8th through the 14th, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week. That is next week. Recommended action is a motion to read and adopt the resolution, and Chief Murrock is on his way up to do just that.
Thank you. This month, we're going to be performing fire prevention presentations at all the schools, public, social media. So you're going to see a lot of that this month. We're going to be inundating the area with our message of fire prevention. It is an incredibly important thing in our community. So with that being said, I'd like to read this resolution. Whereas the City of Two Rivers Fire Department is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our city through fire prevention and public education. And whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally. And homes are locations where people are at greatest risk from fire, resulting in more than 500,000 fires and 2,580 fatalities in 2020, according to National Fire Prevention Association. And whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are a location where people are at the greatest risk from fire. And whereas smoke alarms, smoke detectors, sense well before you can, alerting to you to danger in the event of fire, in which you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape safely. And whereas residents of Two Rivers should ensure everyone in the home understands the sound of smoke alarms and detectors and knows how to respond. And whereas Two Rivers residents should listen for the sound of smoke alarms and when sounds responded by going outside immediately to designated meeting places. And whereas the 2023 fire prevention theme, Cooking Safety Starts With You, effectively serves to educate the public about the importance of taking simple but important steps to reduce the risk of fire when cooking at home. This week is observed nationally and is supported by the public safety efforts of fire departments, schools, and safety advocates in conjunction with the National Fire Protection Association for 100 years. Now therefore, the Two Rivers Fire Department does hereby proclaim October 8th through the 14th, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week throughout our community. And I urge all the people of Two Rivers to be aware of their surroundings. Look for available ways out in the event of a fire or other emergency. Respond when smoke alarm sounds by exiting the building immediately. And support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Two Rivers Fire Department during Fire Prevention Week 2023.
All right, thank you. Looking for a motion on this. Jeff, seconded by Darla. Any council discussion on this? It's a resolution. Roll call vote. Amanda.
Tim Petrie. Bonnie Shimalunas.
Aye.
Scott Steckmeister.
Aye.
Adam Mahusky.
Aye.
Jeff Delkey.
Aye.
Tracy Coach.
Aye.
Bill Leclerc.
Aye.
Darla Leclerc.
Motion carries. Thank you for that. On to C, designation of official trick or treat hours. The recommended action is a motion to designate trick or treating hours from 4:30 to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. In our memo, it looks like it's citywide on that day, downtown, as Darla alluded to earlier. The downtown trick or treat is October 28th from 11 to 2 p.m. Anything further you want to add to that? Pretty
Just
simple.
seeing how we already announced it, don't make a liar out of me. Please
Yeah.
vote yes. Thank you.
Looking for a motion on this. Thank you, Bill. Second by Tim. Council discussion. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you for that. Finally, on to D, notification of city's inclusion in proposed nationwide class action lawsuit settlements related to PFAS contamination in drinking water sources from aqueous film forming foams. Litigation involving defendants DuPont D. Numers, Inc. and others. Litigation involving defendant 3M Company. The recommended action is a motion to refer the matter to the city attorney for recommendation on whether to seek exclusion from the settlement for further consideration on the October 16th, 2023 agenda. Greg.
Council members might recall that a couple months back at a work session, we discussed a settlement on some PCB litigation. Was a class action settlement in litigation involving Monsanto Corporation in that instance. And that was the first time, honestly, I'd ever run into one of these opt-out class actions where there's litigation initiated in this case against harmful impacts of PFAS containing materials. And like in this case, any water system that draws its water from, or that either has had a positive test for PFAS, which we have at very, very low levels, and just about every utility has had at some level. They're all named as parties to the settlement. These notices come, both certified mailings in this case, and unless the city takes affirmative action to opt out, you're in the settlement class. And that's nice on the one hand, because a check comes in the mail eventually. On the other hand, it also means that you're sucked into the settlement terms, usually that are provided to big multinational corporations that are the subject of these, and take them off the hook for potential liabilities related to, in this case, PFAS that they produced. We ended up being, along with several hundred other Wisconsin communities and several thousand around the country, parties to that settlement on PCBs with Monsanto, I would point out that didn't rule out state actions or federal actions. But this one, we want to be uber vigilant on these, advise council when we get them. City attorney will be looking into it further. But Jack, I don't know if you've run into too many of these before the Monsanto one either. It's like, yeah, take action or all of a sudden you're a party to the settlement. So here's two of them, both on the same compounds and the same in the same product, which I assume would be the firefighting foam, aqueous film creating PFAS substances.
Okay, so what we're looking to do here is simply refer this matter on a voice vote to the city attorney to look at further or not to do so. If we do choose to do so, it'll be on our October 16th agenda, 2 weeks from tonight. Looking for a motion to do so.
That motion.
Thank you, Tracy. Seconded by Scott. Any council discussion? Again, this is just simply to refer to have Jack come back to and report to us on to what he thinks we should be doing with this class action lawsuit. All right. No one has anything on that, so then all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Greg, for information only.
As Chairman Dahlke from Personnel and Finance mentioned, we are continuing to proceed into budget review. There are public review sessions scheduled for this Thursday, the 5th at 6 p.m. and next week, Thursday, the 12th at 6 p.m. Those meetings are here in chambers at City Hall. They are open to the public. Next regular meeting of council, of course, 2 weeks from tonight on the 16th. There are five Mondays in October. So typical past practice here has been when there are 5 Monday months, the work session falls to the last Monday of the month. So if you keep that on your calendars for the work session, I expect we'll at least be able to have some dialogue continue with representatives of the swim club if they can attend that meeting. And we'll see what else is up for that agenda. So that's all I have, with the exception of the closed session, which council president can address. We do need that.
Do you believe we will be reconvening to take action?
There is a possibility that the council, on discussing the matter identified, provision of city utility services to the Vanderbroek Arboretum on Lincoln Avenue, there, as the agenda provides for, there may be action upon reconvening. So anyone that's here or wants to come running down here to see the outcome of that closed session would be well advised to stay around or head on down.
Once we enter into closed session, we will not be coming back on TV, but we will reopen the doors to come into open session, which you are more than welcome to come back in and listen to. So 13, closed session. The city council reserves the right to enter into closed session per Wisconsin statutes 19.851E when deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investment of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Tonight, we will discuss matters pertaining to the provision of city utility service to the Vanderbroek Arboretum on Lincoln Avenue. Again, there is a chance we will come in to vote on such action into open session. Looking for a motion to go into closed session. Thank you, Jeff. Seconded by Scott. Council discussion. Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Amanda.
Adam Ohusky.
Aye.
Jeff Delkey.
Aye.
Tracy Coach. Bill Leclerc.
Aye.
Darla Leclerc.
Aye.
Tim Petrie. Bonnie Shermalinas.
Aye.
Scott Steckmesser.
Aye. Do you need time?
I think not. Jack, are you ready to roll? Matt, likewise. Nope, we should be fine to go right into closed. Yep, folks that want to stick around, I'll